Hello, hello, hello. It is Shed in the house on a beautiful, beautiful Sunday, whatever day it is, down here in sunny California. Of all the places to be in the world right now, it would be here. Number one, the weather is it's pure heaven, and I'm just like, wow. It's actually, wait a minute, it's about to rain. What am I looking at? Must be looking at a poster or something like that. Anyway, but I do live down here in California, and it's great to be on air with everybody. This podcast of ours, it's been a long time coming, and you'll know one thing about me. I always say ours because it's never about just me. I'm always surrounded by people who act as supporters, advisors, besties, and just kind of like, just we work together with everything. So with that, I want to thank my main man, Jeffrey Wilson. I've known this dude for a long, long time, when he was a toddler, actually, growing up back in the Midwest. We're from the great state of Iowa, the beautiful city of Davenport, the awesome district of the Quad Cities. And, it's funny because now that I live down in California, I run into people and they always say, how did you end up here? Did you grow up here, in the Bay Area? I'm just like, no, actually, I'm from Iowa. Just like, what? Iowa? How'd you end up down here? And I'll go into some crazy rant. You know what? It's the strangest thing. I went out to get some pizza, and then I took a wrong turn, got on the freeway, and all of a sudden I'm in Iowa or I'm in California, and they're just like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I love the weather, so I stayed." Sometimes they believe it, other times they look at, dude, that's so stupid. That's well, how'd you really get down here? And then I sit them down and I tell them the real story, which is, I played in the NFL, and I got picked up by the Oakland Raiders. They're in Oakland at the time, and I stayed here for almost 5 years with the Oakland Raiders. Did some damage, had some fun, and then you know what? I decided to stay mainly because of the weather and just the people are nice. I would have to say that Iowa people, Midwestern people, are quite different because it's like they're more. Um, they don't get caught up in all the other drama and all that stuff. Iowa keeps things really, really simple. Uh, I mean, it's a laid back state, and they don't get too much caught up in the materialistic stuff and everything. And but everything that I've seen up to this point has kind of like prepared me for um, this podcast. I think it's very important that people have the opportunity to kind of learn some things about other people's cultures and their backgrounds and stuff that might help them moving forward. Um, because it's the only real way that life is going to continue to get better for all those, and not to say that things are bad now. Um, if you pick a topic out there, any topic, let's pick racism. All right. Uh, as we go forward with our podcast, you'll see that racism will be talked about, discrimination, police brutality, all the different things that come, the hot topics that's going on in the world right now. We're going to try to cover on our podcast. But if we talk racism, I mean, I have two girls, grew up uh, mixed background. I'm black, wife's white. They have a mixed background, and so obviously they're going to kind of get exposed to many different things that come with being mixed. But when I'm talking to them, I'm just like, girls, you guys haven't seen anything. Shoot, when I grew up, I once got kicked out of a freaking public fairground type setting. It was a festival going on out there in Bluegrass, Iowa, or yeah, it was Bluegrass. Um, And I once got kicked out because I was walking by to go see a friend, right? So I'm walking by, and I put my arm accidentally grazing this white dude with long brown hair. I could describe I could if I saw him now, I'd be able to point out, yep, that was the redneck who acted a fool. So apparently, me touching him did not rub well, and so he basically uttered the word, "Don't touch me, N word." And I didn't quite hear it at first, so I kept going over there to filter through the crowd to get to where my buddies were over there, and they were high school classmates and stuff who were also white, but they didn't act anything like this. And then so the whole time I'm talking to them, this guy's yelling at me from the other side of the crowd, and now his buddies are around him, and now they're everybody, all those guys are like acting a fool, and I'm thinking like, what is going on? So I go in and I go to try to sort out what's going on. He's like, "Don't you come up to me, N word." I was like, "Sir, I did I?" And he was like, "Yeah, you touched me, and don't you ever do that, and you shouldn't even be in here." And I'm just like, "Wow, what?" And then I had that was back in the days when I had hair, and I was actually trying to look like Kid and Play. So if everybody remember those guys, they had like 6-inch hair, like the high top fades and stuff like that. But it was really really hot and cool back in those days, and that's what my hair looked like. And this guy was like, "And you have ugly hair." And I was like, "What?" And then it was such a crazy scene. My friends, like I said, the other white classmates who were in shock because they didn't even think anything like that at all. So they were like yelling at back at this guy, and those groups are yelling at each other. I'm like embarrassed, so I'm trying to stand up for myself, and I guess I was a little bit too loud. I guess all of a sudden the cops come, they grab me, and they throw me out. It was the craziest scene ever. So I'm standing there, hanging outside the fence line of this blues fest or whatever it was called at the time, and the place is packed. And here you got this redneck dude with the beer in his hand, and he's like laughing at me and like and just flipping me off or whatever. And I'm just like, wow, that was a real true case of racism right there. But even still, like I said about the Midwestern people, they keep it real. Even their racist rednecks keep it real. They'll let you know that they don't want to have anything to do with you. That's how you know that they're a real racist. There's other stuff here where people are, I mean, real racists, in my true honest opinion, real racists won't even talk or won't even be in the same room with a minority or someone they consider inferior. um, you know so it's one of those things where that's their ulterior motives are probably well hidden, but eventually you start trying to talk to them and kind of have conversations with them. You'll know from their reactions to you that they really don't want to have anything to do with you. In front of people, they might pretend, but and stuff. But for the most part, real racists don't. They will more than likely want to pop your head off rather than sit there and have anything to do with you. So, um, you know, thankfully, that's how people the true racists are in Iowa. In California here, though, they do things differently. They do what they call the systematic racism that a lot of people may not know exists, but it's true, and it's just as rampant. It's the systematic racism that where it's hard to spot unless you really like take a moment, squint your eyes, and you kind of sit on your tippy toes and you kind of stare at them for a little bit, like one of those optical illusions and stuff. And if you keep your eyes traced and you're paying attention to what's going on, you're gonna see that that's how it really is. And the good old boy networks who are running that type of game, they only take care of the people who look like themselves, their friends and stuff, and they'll do everything they can to block minorities from moving forward. And that's how racism is nowadays, and that's how it is in California. And so, um, So we'll keep talking. Ah, man, it is beautiful out here. Um, it feels great. Number one, newly retired police officer. Wake up, I spend all my time just chilling. Get so much more time with my family. Get to hug my girls. Get to hang with the wife. It's just it's well deserved. 20 plus years as a police officer, and I'm like limping to the finish line. Well, I was limping to the finish line. I'm already there, and I feel bad for the police departments nowadays. The police officers nowadays, they are really handcuffed themselves. But hang in there, guys and girls. I still, and many others still honor what you do, even though the court systems in a lot of different ways are doing everything they can to take away your abilities to do your job, and which is unfortunate because the people who suffer are the citizens of the society. So, but anyway, the name of the show is Shed Uncuffed, and since I'm newly retired, I can now join in on a lot of different discussions that are going on out there. Um, my background uh, dictates and stuff that I can kind of say some things here and there, and kind of get involved in these arguments because hey, a guy who spent uh, 8 years in the NFL, who is black and spent 20 years as a police officer, I think that person can have some type of uh, a voice when it comes to chipping in when it comes to the Kaepernick type situations and stuff like that. When he kneeled and what it meant to me, I didn't like that. I didn't like the protests that he put out there at all. Um, you know, I didn't think that that was time or place to be doing any protests when you're talking about at a football game. I took things way more seriously than that, and it's hard to play in the NFL game anyway. You have to be mentally dialed in 100%, and it's almost impossible to do it where you're half your mind is thinking about a protest, and then as soon as it's over with, you shake hands. Okay, now let's go out there and try to kill each other. It just doesn't work like that. So if one thing I saw was that a lot of the games where the teams were doing their own like protests before the games, those were the teams that were going out there and getting their butts kicked for the most part. So those are just my opinions. We're going to bring in guests and stuff who might have an opposite of a way of thinking, which is great. We're going to be respectful, and anybody who gets on this podcast and who's not showing respect to the others is not going to be on this podcast. It's as simple as that. I have a way of thinking, but I have an extremely open mind, and I love to hearing other people's thoughts, so we can kind of blend our thoughts and try to make this society better for our youngsters. But yeah, that's why this podcast needs to happen. Um, my guest, who I'm going to be bringing in, his name is our first guest. Actually, is going to be Leo Araguz. I played with him with the Oakland Raiders for a good 3 or so seasons, and the dude is a special breed. He has the same mindset as I do. We're both very kind of small NFL players. He was a punter, I was a receiver, but we went out there with a tenacity that was just kind of like we would do whatever we needed to do to win. And because of that, we were rewarded by Mr. Al Davis. But we both have a lot of affection for Al Davis, as well as a lot of other people do. And as our podcast keeps going, we're going to be, I'm going to be connected with him, and you guys are going to hear a bunch of really cool NFL stories and stuff coming up. And I will leave it there for this Sunday afternoon. Looking forward to our next show. And guess what? Shed is out, but I will be back. You guys take care. I'll talk to you guys here shortly. Get ready for some fun fireworks. Out.